today is Friday, June 18th, and today was Big Friday, or I guess it wasn't as big of a Friday as I had hoped when I came in. But starting with these snatches, same thing as last week, 5 singles at a relatively low percentage. So last week was 80, which wasn't great, but it is what it is. And then this week was 5 kilos above that, so 85, which is about 187, I believe. I think, I sound obviously not too happy about this session, but with the snatches, I definitely sort of was able to fix a big problem that I've been having recently. I sort of had I don't think it's an epiphany per se, but it was just I noticed something that I was doing that might have been the sort of root cause for what I'm referring to specifically is the large amount of lateral movement at extension. Like here with 40, you can see it goes very far out forward and then loops way far back, and so it just is traveling laterally a ton. And I noticed that right off the bat, and so I took 40 again. I actually took a lot of repeat warm-ups today. It's still sort of happening even as I noticed it. And what I was thinking about to try to fix it was thinking about pulling my elbows higher, like up and back. But it still didn't seem to be helping that much. I don't think it wasn't doing anything. It just didn't help as much as I would have wanted, I guess. And so I figured that wasn't sort of the root cause. But at 60, which is the warm-up right after this, you can still see it's moving very much forward and then loops very far back. But here on this warm-up on 60, I sort of realized that one thing that was happening was I was pulling my shoulders back very early, as in I wasn't staying over the bar long enough. This, I realized, sort of was causing me to jump forward, causing my hips to sort of shoot forward and then send the bar very forward, which was sort of what was causing that lateral movement. And so once I noticed this on this second, on 70, I tried to think about just staying over the bar longer, which is a concept that has sort of been drilled in me since the very beginning. It's just something that I think I let myself forget, I guess, in the recent sessions. But yeah, there you can see, so my bar path is actually way better. It's just that I'm I guess in the last few sessions, in the last few weeks, I've just become used to moving to adjust to the bar going very forwards, if that makes any sense. So now that I'm actually doing what's correct, now that the bar path is actually straight, it's going a lot further back than I'm expecting. And so my weight is very much on my heels. Like right there. You can see that it sent a lot further back than I'm expecting it to. And so I put myself in a position a little bit too forward, given that. And yeah, you can see that's it just sort of gets even worse. I think also a part of it was just, I don't know why, this shouldn't be a weight I should be scared of or anything. But just given that once we got to the working set, I found myself having the tendency to just not really control my body very well after extension and just sort of diving down, pulling and praying, as they say. So this fourth and fifth set were a little bit better. Fourth set was a little shaky, but I think this last set was the best one. That was definitely the most smooth / solid. But so I guess even though it didn't go very well, I was pretty unhappy about missing set 1 and set 3. I'm glad that I was able to fix a problem that I've been having. And although, I missed set 1 and 3 because I was able to fix it, if that makes any sense. I just wasn't able to adjust to what was correct. At least one of the parts is correct now. Now it's just a matter of adjusting to what is correct. But so I guess in that sense, the snatches were productive, even though they weren't great. And then we moved on to clean and jerks. Here I'm sort of doing a drill specifically for to work on the timing of my feet in the split jerk that Aaron suggested I do. I saw it actually before he had brought it up, I think the day before. It was posted by Max Ada, but it's like this sort of step out drill that emphasizes getting my back foot down first. But it was pretty helpful actually. I feel like although I didn't get very far with the clean and jerks, as you'll see in a little bit, I think a lot of the jerks in the warm-ups that I was doing timing-wise is better than it's been in the past. Because usually I have a tendency to just be very forward, and so my front foot will always sort of slap down first before, even though ideally I get my weight supported by my back foot first. But yeah, with these clean and jerks, everything felt great until 100. The cleans were obviously like up until that weight. The clean is really no problem, and honestly, like the jerk isn't really that big of a problem either. But same thing that happened on the Thursday that I maxed out on like 2-3 weeks ago. Once I got to 100, it just kept pressing down on my windpipe and making me dizzy. And yeah, that was just sort of the main blocker for today. I couldn't really do any of my working sets because I couldn't get past that in the same way that I couldn't get past a certain weight on that one Thursday that I maxed out on. But after having talked to Aaron about it and just thinking about it, we sort of I think there are two sort of main causes that I am going to try to experiment with in the next few sessions. But I think it's a combination of grip width as well as my elbows being a little bit too low in the rack position. Because, okay, so here's like sort of where it first happens. I'm actually able to sort of at least, try the jerk, but then the dizziness sort of hits as soon as I extend, and then I just sort of can't control it. And then here, so you can see like I get up from the clean, fine, and it just sits on my rack. And so clearly, like, given how long that it stood or sat on my front rack, it is unlikely that it's from the clean, and so it's, very likely from just the rack position, if that makes any sense. So probably a combo of my elbows being too low and my grip width not being correct. And so here for this warm-up at 90, where it went back down from 100, I changed my grip to one finger closer in, and that did help for 90, and then it also helps for 100. The only reason I fail it is just because I send it way too forward. I just send it like just almost at like a 45-degree angle forwards. But I knew that the reason that I missed was because I just sent it forward, so I just was like, whatever, I'll fix it. I'll just move on and fix it. But then, unfortunately, at 110, even with the change in grip width, same thing happens. So it's definitely not just grip width. I think grip width is a factor, but I think it's the combination of grip width and my elbows being too low. Because when the weight is lighter, I can have my elbows that low and elevate my shoulders enough so that it's not crushing my windpipe. But when it gets heavier, with my elbows that low, I just can't keep my shoulders in a position that can support the weight without it crushing my windpipe. So although I was really upset about it, like after the workout, like just after thinking about it and knowing what to try next, I don't feel optimistic. So